Okay. Thank you, Jana. Hello, everyone. Welcome from my side as well to Roadmaps Conference. And I'm really happy to be able to talk with you about product operations. Hopefully, you will get some insights about what product operations is, what this function entails. And maybe you will recognize if you're already using some of it in your organization. And if not, you can decide if you need it or at what extent, right? So let me share my presentation. Okay. Yeah, you can see it. So before we jump into the topic itself, I just want to give a short introduction to anyone who doesn't know me. So yeah, my name is Jovana. I'm currently working as product operations manager in e-learning company. Before that, I was working as innovation consultant as well, and also I was head of product management. Besides that, I practice sword fighting, which is very important for this topic. I like playing D&D, also known as Dungeons and Dragons, and I am always a note keeper, which is also very important for this presentation. And last but not least, I am cat mom. I have 3 cats, and this is very important for this presentation because if you see that world around me starts falling apart, it's not an earthquake, it's just my cats. So this is a very quick introduction about me, and then we can start working. Before we go any further, I would like to just get a quick feedback from you guys. Have you heard of product operations? I mean, I would love to hear about your hobbies and your backgrounds as well, but I don't think we would have enough time. So this is one question I would like to ask you. So menti.com would be a website if you're using your PC. Just enter this code, and if you could answer my question, or if you're using your phone, scan the QR code, and you can answer the question as well. So I would like to know if you heard about product operations. So the possible answers are: you are product operations, you're already working in this role. You either know it, use it, and love it, so you're very familiar with product operations, or you are just still learning, or you have no idea, and this is why you're actually here. So yeah, just a quick intro from your side, and I promise this will be the last time I am bugging you, and I hope you will be bugging me at the end with some additional questions as well. So hopefully at least 1 or 2 more answers. Yeah. Cool. Yeah, so this is a fairly new topic for this region, I would say. It's something on the edge. Yeah, this is something that we are still all learning about. I was like you guys some 3 years ago. Product operations was something new that I heard at that time current role. So I was product manager, and it turned out that product operations role was open, and I started learning about it. I was like, okay, let's see what this is about. And somehow it fit my expectations and my skills. And I said, okay, let's dive in and let's see what this is about. So I started, like I said, I started learning about it, and I went to YouTube, of course, and I tried to find some talks about it. And one of those talks actually compared product operations with flower power-up in Super Mario, right? A lady that was talking about it said that product operations is there to enhance and power up product managers to be invincible, to be able to work like superheroes and be invincible. I was like, okay, cool. This is a fair comparison. I can stand behind it. But then after a while, I realized that it's not 100% true, right? So if you played Super Mario, you know that these power-ups last only for about 20 or 30 seconds. So once you get invincible with this power-up, you need to run around and do as much as you can before it goes back to being just a regular Mario, right? So it's not the best comparison, I would say. So what I will try to, I hope, let's say, convince you is that product operations is more like Chewbacca to Han Solo, right? It's a co-pilot. It's product operations is a co-pilot to product managers, and it's their trusted companion, and it's a long-term relationship that goes both ways. So they're both needed in order to fly Millennium Falcon and to be badass in this universe, right? So if we go to more like serious approach of what product operations is, we could say that it's a function that mainly presents product management towards all other areas within the company, but also presents the bridge and the glue between all different areas within the company as well. So this operations role is fairly new. Let's say it started to emerge around 15-ish years ago in companies like PayPal. And well, at that time, it started to emerge as a role, let's say, because even before that, product managers, and even today, product managers also do part of the product operations work, right? It's an extra work for them. So product operations as that is supposed to take over that part of the work that is an add-on to product managers and make product managers their best selves, right? So you probably heard about other like sales operations, marketing operations, CX operations. Those are fairly familiar. And sometimes people think that like, what would product operations bring new? There probably then some overlap with other operation roles. So sometimes people say like this, it's a battle of operation roles. But in fact, you just have to be careful that there are no overlaps, and even if there are, just to like get to agreement who is taking care of what. So you can find many different explanations and definitions about what product operations is, but this is the main thing. It's a glue between product and other segments in the company. What is also important is to explain what product operations is not. So product operations is not here to replace ineffective product management. So product operations is not supposed to take over some product manager work. It's just there to enable them. We are not here to replace existing roles. And especially when we're talking about replacing existing roles, product operations is not there to replace data science team. So sometimes there is a misunderstanding that product operations is supposed to take over the work of data science team. So they are supposed to be complementary, and I will explain you how. But it's just important at this moment to emphasize that it's not a replacement, it's an enhancement. So why are we talking about product operations right now? So as I mentioned, it's here with about 15 years, but since the period that must not be spoken about, like from 2020, and the quarantine and the rise of the remote work, there have been more and more requests and need for a function that is product operations. So we have development teams, product teams that are working very, very close, but they are, for instance, dispersed. They're not working from the same place. They have different, let's say, practices. So it would be requested from management, and teams themselves would realize that they need someone to help them to coordinate all the work, to manage processes that they use in general, to make sure that product management team ticks, right? Then we have data explosion. I know that we are always talking about data explosion for I don't know how many years already, and it's expanding continuously. But the amount of data that right now we have available is not something that product managers can constantly consume and go through, analyze, etc. So product managers always say that they want to look at the data, but they don't have the time to go through all the data that they have available, right? So product operations should be there for product managers to help them get actionable data when they need it. So not to be overwhelmed with it, but to actually be able to use it and to interpret it correctly. So this is why I mentioned product operations is not there to be instead of data science team. So they are not supposed to crunch data. This is something that data team, data science teams are the best at. They understand how to make all the relations, correlations, how to extract all the data itself. But product operations should be there to, let's say, translate it from the data language to business language. So they help product managers interpret everything that they need in order to create some strategy and to define their future goals, right? And in the end, we have autonomous teams. So as I mentioned, like a lot of people coming in, working on either different features of the product or even different product at the same time, brings us to situations where we have people working in silos. So either that might be like different Scrum teams or different teams in different countries, depending on the size of the company. It happens then that different habits bring different results, or at least different cadences in how teams work. And this can become really problem to the rest of the organization because they don't know when and what to expect from the product team. So maybe some of you can feel this frustration when you always get pings from sales teams, CX teams, support team, like, when are we having the next feature? What is the roadmap? Is the roadmap up to date? Are we going to see the demo soon? Can you join the call and talk to our prospect? Oh, it's not over yet. Really? When will it be? Blah, blah, blah. You know, so all these questions come from uncertainty and because there is no unified plan on how product is going to communicate all their outcomes. So in order to avoid this silos work, product operations should be there to just help everyone get on the same page. This is also important, you know, as I mentioned, not to have these knowledge silos, but also to tackle onboarding challenge. So when we have new people joining product team, it's also very, let's say, challenging to bring them up to speed if we have different ways of work. Because, you know, if they have one mentor or buddy when they join the company, they're going to get one flavor of how things are done. But if we have one way of working, or at least one framework that we are going to use, it's much easier for them to onboard and hit the ground, you know, running. So we have some basic pillars of product operations. Maybe you will find some of these that are already covered by product team or someone else like product marketing. It's the fact that product operations is fairly different depending on the company and what they need. But definitely one thing, if we put everything else aside, if someone else is doing it already and they're doing it good, so why change it? If one thing should stay within product operations, it's process excellence. So streamlining processes across the team, bringing tools, different tools to use it, bringing different platforms to communicate how these processes are running. This is something that product operations is going to focus on always. So standardizing outcomes, so it's easier for the rest of the organization to understand what's going on within product management team. This is something that product operations is going to be in charge of. And also it's going to help drastically reduce meeting hours for product management team. So if we know how we are communicating to the rest of the company and to the market as well, It will be much easier for product managers to focus on discovery, on the research, on prototyping, etc., than to spend hours and hours on Zoom calls and others just explaining what's coming, what's going on, what's the next step, and similar. So establishing these best practices and automating things if possible. So I would say that these are like 2 or 3 steps that are within this pillar. So we are trying to analyze what is going on within the product team, how people are working. Then these processes are then streamlined, recorded, communicated, educated. So everyone gets educated on how to use the processes. We're not trying to make everyone, like strict and work in their box, but just give them the tool, give them the framework to make their lives easier. And in the end, if we see that things can be automated, we are definitely going to do that, because, product operations people are kind of, tweaked like that. They want to automate as much as possible. When I talk to other people about how they work, like this is the ultimate goal. Like this is the final form of us as Pokemons, like automating things. So yeah, it's the ultimate goal. So to automatize ourselves out of the role. It can sound a bit scary for someone, but if product operation people could do that, I think everyone would, because that would mean that product team is working seamlessly and our work is done. But unfortunately, it's never done. So we just keep moving, right? So yeah, besides that, marketing and customer insights, collecting all the information that we can from the market is something that product operations is doing. But we are not the ones doing the interviews, of course. This is something that product managers are in charge of. So they're the ones that want to talk directly to the customer as much as possible. And depending on the company, there can be some challenges in this area. Like small companies are much more agile and they talk to their customers more often. They feel confident in doing this. But for instance, larger companies and product managers in larger companies are not so sure who to talk to. Sometimes they don't want to jeopardize some deal when it comes to prospects. Maybe there are some customers that are more interesting than others, and then we just keep bombarding them. Like CX is asking them questions, product managers are asking them questions, executives are asking them questions, and it's just too much. And they don't want to burden these customers, so they just pull back. Like, I don't want to be that additional email, like, how do we have 15 minutes for a quick call? So, there are problems with some, let's say, data collection and customer feedback collection. So product operations is really trying to mitigate this, to plan and organize everything that we can around experimentation and research. So we help product managers get their boost back and their confidence in talking with customers constantly. This is also very important to say that we don't want, of course, product managers talking with customers just when we are ready to launch, like, okay, this is the final look of our product, of our feature. What do you think? Oh, I don't like this and that. Well, release is in 2 days, so we'll take it in consideration for the next iteration, right? We don't want that. So product operations is really trying to make all these interview cadences constant and help product managers include customers in building the product. It's really helpful, and product managers really like, of course, having customers as integral part of the entire R&D cycle. So we are here to help in this area as well. And in the end, data and information synthesis, or let's say flow of the information. We're talking here about internal and external information. So internal information meaning everything that we can collect as product managers from sales, CX team, from CRM tools, from ticketing tools. This is all valuable information that we can use to build product strategy. but also there is a lot of information that is coming from outside of the company. So we're talking customer net promoter score, information about what our competition is doing, what marketing, what market is looking like, what are some new trends, what are some challenges and problems that our customers might have. So all this information is important and very valuable for product managers. And product operations is trying to build channels through which this information is constantly flowing into the product team. So again, not to overburden product managers with a lot of different data, but just to bring the right information at the right time. So all of this is things, all these are things that product operations would do. And it's then divided into several, let's say, responsibilities. So we have, like I mentioned, improving processes and practices. So how product manager team works, making sure that transparency is kept. So the way that we work, what outcomes can be expected from product managers, at what cadences, and also who is working on what, because unfortunately I've seen that some product management teams are working as black box, and the rest of the company really does not know what and when to expect, which can be quite frustrating for both sides. And for product operations, it's really good to make this like communication very, very clear and transparent. Supporting PMs in user research. So we are teaching product managers how to fish. It's very easy to say it now, but sometimes it can be challenging because people have, as I said, different experiences. People also that, you know, are answering and from customer side can be different. So all these things can take some time to train, to work on, and it's much easier actually for product managers as well if they have someone to, you know, practice with. As you have, for instance, on Zoom call, you have a feature to test your microphone and camera. So product operations sometimes works as a test, you know, environment for product managers when they want to see how their new questionnaire or any other type of survey or research is going to look like. So we can be devil's advocate and tell them like, maybe you should work on this or that, etc. before going to the first customers. Yes, streamlining intelligence is also very good part that I want to emphasize. So it happens that, you know, there are a lot of information that needs to run from product team to other teams, but also from product managers to higher level of product team as well. So we're talking about group product managers, head of product. So product operations is supposed to be, I won't say messenger, but someone who is making sure that all relevant information is circulating through product management team. So if we have this, if we have someone who is there to make sure that we get all the information, so horizontally and vertically, it's much easier for everyone to get on the same page, which is, you know, like the ultimate goal. And go-to for customer-facing teams is, again, product operations person or function. So all customer-facing teams don't have to ping, you know, directly product managers about information from the product team, but they can go to product operations manager and just, you know, collect all the feedback from them. So product operations sometimes works as internal training team. So when we get new feature, when we get new product, this is the team, this is like sub-team of product that should be most familiar, besides product managers, with the feature itself. So we are able to actually train the rest of the company. So we are training customer-facing teams on how to demo the feature, how to demo the product, how to emphasize the values, the things that will help our customers, so they don't have to, you know, like drag product managers to customer calls and, you know, helping them prepare for discovery calls, etc. So product operations is trying to take over this part of the work and just, you know, spread the knowledge within the company about what new feature or product we have. And in the end, you know, it's very complicated when you have people dispersed around the world, or even around one country, to bring them together. Like if we have a team that is working in the office, 2, 3, 4 people, it's very easy to get together, to talk, to see how everyone is feeling, what is going to be done next, you know, in general, what's the pulse of the team. But when you get to this dispersed structure of the team, it can be a bit challenging. So product operations is trying to get all these people together remotely or even in person when we can, just to make people feel that they're still part of the team. So it is very important, and I've seen people react you know, very, very positively when they get a chance to actually exchange knowledge with their fellow product managers, because usually they're focused, you know, like on their delivery team, on sales team, on CX, you know, just bringing everything that they you know, promise to delivery. But you know, just talking to fellow product managers sometimes can release the pressure and get your mind set for the next big thing. So besides these socials, you know, there are other meetings, QBRs, everything else that needs to be done within the team. So this is something that product operations is managing. So you know, if you hear this, you'll probably say like, this is something that group product manager or head of product or VP of product is going to do, right? But it's almost administrative work. So we are trying to also release these guys from, you know, managing all the calendars and meetings, etc., and having them focus on building product strategy and seeing where we are going next. So it kind of helps, you know, at least people say it does. So when we say all these things, like what product operations is, what they're doing, what we are doing, you can get to the point and asking yourself, like, do we need product operations? So I'm going to say, of course, yes, you need product operations as a function. Depending if you're a smaller organization or larger organization, there are different reasons why you would need this function. Who is going to run it is a different question. But for instance, if you're a smaller organization, you definitely want someone or, you know, team or a person help you prepare to scale. So someone who is going to help you establish processes and structure to be ready to scale. This is very important. There are companies that have great products, but then they have this like teenager, like when they're growing and they have their ache in their bones because they're growing so fast, because they were not ready. They're not ready to you know, get all this expansion. So if we get the chance to have someone who can help us prepare for this growth, for scale, it's really an awesome thing. Also, if we are going to new markets or segments, so as I mentioned, there is a lot of research behind it. You need something, you know, of information to be prepared, of how you're going to work perhaps, or how you're going to approach the new market. So all these things are then again going to be a side work, additional work for product managers. So if there is something that can be prepared up front and just, you know, delivered to product managers as a welcome pack to a new market or segment, that would be awesome. You know, again, it would be hitting the ground running. And also in larger organizations, if you're again scaling further, you're going to need someone to help you perhaps change some frameworks and processes that you've been using to this moment, because again, you as an organization is changing. So you're going to, you will want to adapt to that. Again, if you are creating multiple products, there is even a greater chance that you get into this trap of knowledge silos and people not talking to each other. So again, someone who is creating all these bridges between teams and the rest of the organization is going to really help get all this information, you know, circulating and get people working together more closely. Of course, with distributed teams, it's even more efficient if you have someone who is going to take care of this. what's the first sign to recognize if you should go into looking into product operations? Like if the team is overwhelmed and everyone is constantly doing something. So if you open calendar of your product team and you see that you cannot fit in like 15 minutes slot to talk to your people, to the rest of the team, then something is a problem. Something is problem. There are too many meetings, there are too many like one-to-ones and whatnot. So probably there are things that can be streamlined, that can be automated, that can be put in a framework, into Confluence, into Google spreadsheet, whatever. We need to free time for our product managers to do something that is more meaningful, that is customer oriented, to get them spend more time with customers. And we can do that through product operations, definitely. And in the end, just a couple of examples of how product managers work without and with product operations. So these are some of the examples of, these are my experience. This is my experience. Companies that I've worked with saw these changes. So I am working in a company as product operations, but I also worked with a couple of companies as a consultant because they wanted to have someone set up the basics of product operations as a function. But they said, like, we cannot afford right now to have additional person coming in and work as product operations, which is fine. We can work like this. It's just important that we expose the fact that someone is going to take over part of the work that product operations is, right? So we cannot just assume that someone is going to record something, that someone is going to prepare something. We never assume anything. We always plan, always record, always measure. So if we get to this agreement, if we get to the point that, okay, let's put some basics down and then see who is going to take over what, then yes, product operation function can be run by several different people who take over like different parts of it. But in general, without product operations, it happened that product strategy was based on sales requests and inputs from few customers. You get the loudest sales people. When I say loudest, I don't mean they scream, but they send most Slack messages. They always request, the slightest thing from their prospects. They ask all the questions all the time, and usually panic mode strikes and everyone is like, let's build this. These are the biggest companies that we can have, and maybe this is going to be our strategy. Maybe that's not the best case because revenue that these customers will bring is less than everything else that might come from different companies that are just not that loud, right? So we need to look at the market in more strategic and smarter way. So with product operations, product strategy is supported by automated business data and insights, meaning that all the information that we can collect from other customers as well, either through CRM tool, ticketing tool, as I mentioned, NPS score, any other sort of way that we can use, maybe more relevant than just few constant Slack pings, right? So if we can enable this, then product managers can build really, really data-supported product strategy. Also, as I mentioned, including customers in building our releases was sometimes just on the level of, okay, we are releasing this product / feature / release in 2 days. Do you have a moment for our 30 questions survey right now? And customer is just deleting it. Like, really, guys? And yeah, this is something that we really wanted to change. And if customers are constantly involved in discovery and prototyping, everyone is much happier. Like, everyone is involved, they feel heard. It's much easier to include someone's feedback when it's received at the start than at the end. So we don't get then like feature backlog of constant requests that we received like 2 days before release. but they're constantly flowing in, and we can actually, prioritize them, work on them, see what makes sense and what not. So it's a world of difference. Also, OKRs that are now, I would say, already standard of planning the work of the entire company, and then of course the product team often tends to just end as a to-do list in some spreadsheets or in Confluence, because yes, we made a plan at the start of our quarter and then everything else started to burn. So in the end we were like, yeah, we'll get there next quarter. Product operations is actually there to help product managers work on their OKRs to make them more realistic, to make them plausible and deliverable, and to actually help them track where they are at the moment, if they need some help, to ping other teams, to bring them in, to work with management, and to always expose information, current state, what is going on, help people get to the next steps, and just keep the wheels moving. It's important to say that product operations managers are usually not the people who are going to bring some decisions to the table. They're there to facilitate, they're there to enable. And if someone is going to get into this role, they should be aware of this and be happy to enable people, and not be, I wouldn't say mad, but disappointed if their decision is not taken in consideration. Like, it's good to help, it's good to propose, but in the end, product managers are the ones that should make the strategy, and we are just, pushing them and bringing them to the higher level. And in the end, like, each product manager on the team sometimes used to have their own format of road mapping, of communicating. We're talking about cadences, different tools, different information that is distributed. So again, a lot of frustration all around the place. And with product operations and some templates that would be created and a team could use, it's much easier for everyone to just fill out the blanks, know when they should communicate, and if there is something additional, and we get information from customer facing teams like, we don't really get this, we are missing this piece of information constantly. Product operations is there to hear this and help product managers include this information in future comms. So we are not just having them, like customer facing teams pinging each PM, like, I miss this from you, I miss this from you, but they're talking to central place, they're talking to product operation that is going to help then spread out this request to the entire team, and then again, make everyone on the same page, and have everyone deliver the same outcomes from the product team. So this would be my short introduction to product operations for you guys. I hope it was not too much. I hope it was not too little. But I also hope that you have some questions so we can have further discussion, because we have like a couple of minutes more, Jovana, right?
Yes, we have 50 minutes more for questions, and we have two questions exactly from the same person. First is it the Scrum Master are a part of the product management team?
Would you say Scrum Masters are part of product operations team?
Yes.
Okay, so Scrum Masters are mostly focusing, again, they are compatible. They should talk between themselves, but Scrum Masters are focused more on the, let's say, this team, I will call it a hybrid team, but team that is consisted of product managers and their engineering counterparts. So they're focused on this group that is working on one product or feature and delivering it. Product operations is focused mainly on product managers and how they work. So, of course, the Scrum Masters are going to have loads of information of how product manager is communicating with the rest of the organization, with the rest of the Scrum team. And if there is something that can be done in this area to improve this communication, to improve this work, then product operation manager can actually use this info to, enhance not just this Scrum team, but also the rest of product managers. So the knowledge and the improvement can be, distributed to other Scrum teams as well. So it's not, I wouldn't say that they're a part of the product operations team, but they're working quite closely. And the other question, how many product operations people would you say is good number? So again, I would say that depends on what you want to achieve. So I wouldn't compare it to number of engineers and product managers. So that wouldn't be the main reference of how many people in product operations you need. I would look more into area of what goals you want to achieve for product management teams. So they are the main customers. Depending on that, you are going to either start with one person that is going to have like several, let's say like 2, 3, 4 main goals that they want to achieve, that they want to have like fast results with, to show the value of what they've done, to have everyone feel this improvement. And if this is done, then it's very easy to scale. There are product operations team that are just army of one, and they're doing tremendous work because it's just, the amount of work they can do is there, and it's okay. But there are also product operations team that consist of like 6 or even 10 people, but each of them is covering one area. So for instance, one of them is focusing on customer research, other is working on processes, third one is working just on, for instance, some tool, customer feedback collection tool, or connection with CRM or something else. So it depends on what you want to achieve. Now, someone is working just with the data team, for instance. So if this is something that one person can take on, cool. If you see that this person is breaking, then you should start thinking about bringing someone else to the team.
Okay, thank you. We have one more question here. Also, is it who are your direct stakeholders on daily basis?
Yeah, so this is great question, because I'm constantly talking about communication, right? And I'm talking about communication of product managers with rest of the organization. But for product operations manager specifically, main stakeholders are, I would say, first of all, managers of product team and other teams that product team is working with, because these are the people that need to, first of all, agree on how they're going to work. What do they expect? What are the outcomes that they expect for their teams? And then you roll it down to product managers as well. So I would say then product managers, product PM leaders, and leaders of other teams within the company.
Okay. And the one more is this role usually connected to one product manager or covering multiple products?
Yeah, so there are, I would say, 2 types of structure that can be, that I know of at the moment. So you could either have product operations manager that is in charge of the entire product team. So we are talking mainly about people, not product themselves. So if one team, one product operation function can be in charge of the entire product team. But I also know that, for instance, in some really large companies, there are they're called federated hybrid product ops. So you would have a chief product officer, you would have head of product operations. They would be on the same level. The head of product operations would report directly to CPO, and then within each, you would have VP of product or group product managers below CPO, and for their teams, each of their teams would have one product operations manager. So you would have them nested within the teams. So if they are working, if each team is working on one product, then you would have product operations manager per product or per feature, depending on what they're working on. So each of them are reporting to head of product operations, and he's talking or she's talking to CPO. So these are the two structures that I know of. If something else emerges, I will look forward to seeing it.
Then can I continue on this one, because it was my question? Can I continue?
Yeah.
Okay, so the second type, with the full-fledged organization of product operations, I mean, where would you put that in the, let's say, the landscape of scale? Like that kind of product has, I don't know, 10,000 users, a million users. Because what I would see is that you are detaching product strategy pretty much from product operations. And then you're having hierarchies, and it makes the handover of the strategy difficult, in my opinion. But I want to understand that if that product would, let's say, have million users, and then that probably comes as a necessity that someone is dealing with the strategy and someone is dealing with the operations.
Yeah. So when we talk about these really large organizations, and I guess that strategy and how it is dispersed down to teams is really something that CPO is probably, or VP of product is going to be in charge of. Then head of product operations needs to follow that. So if we have each team working on different product, then each product operations manager that is within those teams needs to follow those teams, right? So head of product operations is going to have a bit of a challenge, but that's the like challenge of the role itself, right? To see how these guys are working. So there are probably going to be a lot of different aspects of work within those teams, but there are definitely going to be some similarities and some things that must be done in the same way, as I mentioned, in order for the rest of the organization to realize what is going on and to collect information and inputs from product team, right? So there are things that are only important for product team. So this is something that no one else needs to really understand. This is something that product operations is going to do for PMs specifically. But everything else that needs to go out to the rest of the organization, to the market as well, is something that they need to find common ground on, and have all these thousands and millions of users get the same experience from this product team.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, we have Mina. Mina is asking, would this role be a good transitional role to product manager role?
Yes, actually, they're very compatible. Like when you talk about product operations role, it's some people say that you need to have product manager experience. So it can go in both ways. There are people going into product operations from CX operations, from product marketing as well. So it's definitely very close to product management. So you can jump in from one to the other. Which way you want to go is of course your choice. But they're very transitional. I mean, most product operation managers that I know were previously product managers. I don't know anyone going in from product operations to product management. Actually, no, this was such a lie. Scratch this from the recording, please. I do know people going from product operations to product management. So yeah, this is something that it's constantly learning for both roles. So yeah, you can go from one way to the other.
Okay, good. And why do you love your role?
Yeah, so if okay, I as I mentioned, I am note keeper. I like setting up, I wouldn't say rules, but helping people, you know, get through different challenges. And this is something that this role, it's core of this role, you know, it's constant change. So if you don't like the change, this role is definitely not for you, because you're constantly working on something else. Something is constantly burning for product managers, and you constantly need to help them. This now sounds that PMs are incompetent, but there's just so much on their plate. So they really need assist. They need a co-pilot. I started with this, so I'm ending with this. Like, product managers need their co-pilot, and I really like co-piloting. So yeah, that's the main thing that I love about this. Constant change, and you know, chance to help someone be successful, you know, seeing things work and seeing people happy that they could deliver what they planned and it was as they planned. That's really awesome. Yeah, you're welcome.
Great. More questions? No? One more time?
If anyone thinks of anything else that they would like to know about product operations, I'm on LinkedIn. I didn't put my link to LinkedIn here, but Jovana Ilijas, I think I'm the only one, so you can find me easily. And I would love to keep this chat going on. So, you know, feel free to ping me.
So,
thank you.
Thank you. Great. We can close this session, but would like to thanks to all to your presence here and to Jovana on the great presentation. And I will share here link for voting in chat. Just jump in, put 3 words that describe your feelings about the presentation, and give us your feedback. It will be important for us. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Jelena?
Yes.
So for the next presentation, is it possible that you pin my screen? I don't want to share my screen, I just want to be pinned.
Okay, yes, we will do that.
Okay, and you're also taking care of recording?
Yes.
Oh, perfect. So I don't need to worry about that. Thank you.
Yes, okay.